You ready? Okay, we're gonna start with your hands. Now rub them together. And then just like give them 3 quick claps. Rub them a little bit more, and then we're gonna bend down. And we're gonna put our warm hands on the outside of our legs and just rub slowly up the legs. When you get to the hips, lightly with the fists right into the hips. And then right down the outside of the legs. Right up the inside of the legs. Right over those same hip spots. And then right into the back. Right up the ribs. And then down the outside of the arm. Up the inside of the arm. Across the chest and down. Outside. Up the inside. Flat hands on the chest. So just gently swing your arms. So nervous energy wants to go down. So before even doing this in the bathroom, that zip up exercise I showed you earlier, and just sending the energy into the earth. Now, if you're feeling tired, I showed you this one before, but the tired one, and also a ceremonial one, if you're trying to get into a ceremonial space, you scoop the earth energy up, and then you fold it kind of at heart level towards yourself, and then up. And you kind of want to do this with your hands. I never really talked about this, but you kind of want to do this with your hands, and not look up that far, but look right at your, right over your thumbs kind of thing. Yeah. So, scooping it up. Oh yeah, and come down the same way you go up. Yeah, I like that. Nice. Just okay. All right, so let's just close our eyes and stand, ground our feet, bounce a little bit on our feet, like bend our knees and just bounce. Sort of trying to equalize the weight between the heel and the front of the foot, the pad of the foot, so that there's equal distribution. And then ultimately when you're singing or public speaking, you don't want the knees ever to lock, unless it's for like an emphasis or a character thing. But you really want to maintain your connection with the energy of your foot and the elastic, comfortable, relaxed nature of the spine. So, in martial arts, they teach you this horse stance that can be very uncomfortable for a long period of time, because it's really about learning to relax into this space that's very hard to access. But it doesn't need to be quite as involved as that. You want to always think, your core is slightly engaged, your knees are relaxed, and then the important thing that a lot of people forget is there's just this really simple point that happens right above the center of the sternum. I call it the high heart. There's like a little bone there. Another really great one, if you're tired, is to tap right there, because that activates the thymus gland, which will give you a little bit of energy. It's a great hack when you're driving late at night and tired. Open the windows, play the music, and tap your thymus. Okay, so let's talk about the breath a little bit with the voice. So the breath, we have this tendency when we're born to take these natural breaths, and if you watch a baby sleeping, it's like one of the most beautiful things, and their stomach is just like, and we forget that over the course of our lives, or like stress or trauma can like stop us from doing that, and it happens pretty frequently. So we're going to keep our hands on our stomach for the next few minutes, and just keep one and keep the other one down at your side. And let's just go side to side, just to keep the knees from locking up. We're going to warm up the voice really gently today. We're just going to start on a hum. Slightly up on this. Siren, if you want to do it a little bit higher, go for it. So an amendment to this, I mentioned I was working in the dust today, and I'm probably going to have some stuff coming out of me. The humming is a great gentle way to warm up the voice. If you put your tongue behind your teeth, that will help stimulate, and you can actually try to force the vibration further into your nose. That will actually stimulate the blood flow in those areas. So we're going to try to rise up a little bit now in the notes. Okay, that's about the limit of my range. So now we're going to do what's called a top to bottom size. Siren knows this, but this is one of the foundational things that anytime we push the voice, we come with a reset exercise. And this is one of the three reset exercises I use frequently. So it's before you go, the notes about that are what we're doing is smoothing over the break, trying to clear, trying to soften and make as small as possible that natural gap between the head voice and the chest voice. And so we're sliding and we're trying to keep an even volume and an even kind of rate of descent. And when you get to the end, I want you to be as relaxed as possible. So remembering the knees nice and soft, and you can even drop your jaw out and like let your tongue hang a bit. We jumped a little bit ahead of the way that I usually do things, a bit for flow's sake. So we're going to do this now, then we're going to do a little bit more physical stuff to get into the body a little deeper. And then we're going to come back to more of the vocal stuff, just so you're aware of what my flow is. So let's try the top down side twice together. So, and you can physicalize it or not. I like to. It's just for me, helps me visualize and lock the voice in the body. So. All right. Okay, so let's warm up our. I can still feel I'm a little bit tense from working all day. Let's get our fingers right into the back of the. We do a little bit of slapping. Slapping's a really good one. So basically, the voice starts like the blood vessels that support the voice start right above your sacrum. So like those blood vessels go all the way to here. So all this stuff really wants to be stretched out. Nice deep side stretches. And you can make a little bit of noise here. Just just try like a. And the sound will actually show you, like, help ease congestion. But my theory is the more you get to know your voice and like its limitations and what it feels like in different positions, the more you're going to have a sense and a comfort in that voice. So just try. The other one I really like to do is, and very gently with the voice, but I like to do a full range of motion exercise where I spread my feet, not uncomfortably wide, so in a comfortable space, but as distant apart as is comfortable without it feeling like a stretch. And then you take the hand up high, and you literally fall to one side, and then you trace the outside of the circle with that lead hand. And then when you get to the far knee, the other hand comes up and replaces it, and you follow that one, not too far behind you, but basically you're tracing the outside of your reach and activating the spine. And then when we go the other direction, let's just add a and And then come up to standing and just relax on it. And I find the other thing that I find very relaxing is when you let that sigh out. So we zipped up before, but as you send energy back into the earth, what you'll find is that energy comes back to you just as much. So I find the zip up is great, but then also, and I literally feel the energy when I do that. I feel the energy like go out my testes and down my legs, and like this like relaxing bath of like, whew, I'm supported. We are supported. Everything we need in here. It's funny that we're paid to live on the earth we were born on. But your body is your own. Okay, so we did a little bit of range of motion exercise. Let's get into the fingers a little bit. I like to show people some unique stretches, and I'm also going to demonstrate an energetic. So I like to just pull on the fingers and make sure that they're nice and loose. I know that sounds weird for a vocalist, but they're an intrinsic part of the voice for me. And after we warm up the hands a little bit, we're just gonna lay our hands a bit more on our face and do some more vocalizing with all the blood flow getting stimulated. So yeah, give your hands a good rub. Clap them together again. And now lay them right on the jaw. And then maybe scissor your fingers on either side of the ear. You can split them in half or whatever feels comfortable. And we're just looking for that warmth on the jaw. Okay, now we're gonna open the jaw and just do try to like a fake yawn. It might turn into a real one. Okay, and now you can flip your hands upside down and just gently with the thumb, not too deep at first, but I want you to sort of wiggle your jaw in a circle, back and forth, up and down, and use those thumbs to just feel where the tension is and give a little gentle energy into that tension. And I like this one. It's more like the top-down sigh, but it through the nasal. And this is great at opening clogged nasal passages. And again, we're feeling the tension in our jaw. Everyone has it. I have it. Everyone, especially who lives in the city, has it. And that small little is meant to relax us and also to give us some sense through the tension how the sound's going to reverberate as we let go of it. So, and the nasal part. So while you do the nasal part, activate the nose. Try to push as much of the energy forward as you can. Now I need to blow my nose. Oh, but it feels good. So rubbing the base of the hands together, we're going to put them right over the eyes. Feel that warmth. Take a deep breath into the nose. So we're just gently opening into the we're going to rub the hands together, do the hands over the eyes and sigh out on the sound. Nice even one, not top to bottom. Okay, and I like to do the base of the hands again, and let's do the ears this time. Press them in nice and hard with those warm hands, and then I like to also fold them forward over themselves and give them a little bit of a tug in every direction. These are small things, but the ears and the neck and the jaw and the eyes, it's amazing when you're getting all the blood flow to those places, how different your voice sounds. I already feel like calmer and more present. So you can also get your fingertips, if you have short hair, right into short hair. If you have longer hair, I just like fingertips on the hair, and you can basically stretch the scalp as much as you can. I sometimes when I have my hair down, I like to just pull it as hard as I can without letting go of my beauty. Alright, so let's get into the shoulders a little bit too. Stretching across and then trying to touch the opposite shoulder blade. And then while we're doing this, let's just do a so it's coming across from as far as you can look to the right. And we're going to do the other arm. And so when you do your mwah at the end, stick your tongue out and reach that as far as you can. So start looking over the left shoulder and then yeah, good. Swing that arm. So, basic biomechanics, spiritual biomechanics, as it were. It's funny that when you dive deeply into this practice, as I've been doing for many years, every time I teach it, new things start happening. I was listening to this program the other day that was talking about one of the Rinpoches who learned that if you figure 8 your dantian 8 times, and then your solar plexus 8 times, and then your heart chakra 8 times, and then your throat chakra 8 times, he was able to activate his rainbow light body and disappear. I just heard this on the radio the other day, and I was like, how? I think it was an Instagram reel, and I'm like, it's so funny because I'm talking about voice all the time. My phone is sending me like these little reminders that there's still information out there to discover. But I've been teaching, I used to teach something I called the infinity process, and it was a movement-based approach to the voice. And one of the foundations of that is, yeah, we're basically, we're drawing that infinity all the time without really knowing that that's what we're doing. When we're walking, our hips are basically, like, if you think about it, our hips are traveling in a figure 8 when we're walking. Bum, 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 bum. There's something about it in music too. I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but maybe Siren will help me.
So much of flow arts is figure eights as well.
So much of what? Flow arts? Oh yeah, I guess it is. Pretty much.
Like,
it's almost like making that perfect circle so you can continue.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where it always starts with this practice for me is like the 2-dimension, then it goes to the 3-dimensional. So like my early studies, the metaphysical studies, I was actually taught this meditation called squaring the circle, but the funny thing is it's called cubing the sphere because that's where you have to get to, but you have to start by squaring the circle, like when you meditate on squaring the circle, which is like putting a circle inside of a square, or a square outside of a circle, inside of a square inside of a circle, and like the different geometries of it. You meditate on the 2-dimensional version first, and then you step up. And so it's the same. You start with the basic, and then you get like creative with it. So everything is spiral dynamic. So it starts on this path, and then anything that knocks it off that path, like reestablishes an equilibrium. So I like to talk about this. Like thumbs to the left. Have you ever heard anyone say that? So like indigenous cultures around the world have it in common. They do this practice when they, and here's what I think, here, like the deeper piece of this is a performance is a ceremony. Like, I don't like the word performance. Like sharing your heart and soul is a ceremony. When people are witnessing you, there is an intent there. Whether you speak to it or not is unimportant. It is an intent. So what we're attempting to achieve when we're in ceremony or performance is ultimately unity consciousness. And this, I'm a pattern, like a systems thinker, so I look for patterns. Indigenous cultures all around the world do this because this hand is receiving and this hand is giving. Thumbs to the left. You complete the circuit. We're all mechanical, or not mechanical, we're electrical beings. And so if you think about harmonizing space as much as possible, if you can get people synchronized in physically and then synchronized sonically, like whether that's an exterior, like someone's voice, or a great musician playing, like people, that's what unifies people, is something that is transcendent of their mundane experience. And it can be as simple as passing energy around a circle in a way that they've never done. Why are we putting our thumbs to the left? I'm not going to tell you, but it works. It's like a hippie trick. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh, it's a hippie trick that indigenous cultures all around the world simultaneously discovered, but European westernization took that away, and now it's returned to our knowledge. So let's share it. These things are things that help us to unify, and that, like I said, that's the ultimate goal of bringing people together, is like, we're not separate. And the more we realize we just have these different lenses on reality, I think the easier it is to be kind to one another. Okay, so I got a little off. That was a little tangential. That wasn't in the notes that I didn't take because I didn't find the pen.
Flow took you.
The flow took me. But these are the important aspects of like, if you're bearing your soul, know your reason. And I think we have a bit of a friendship, Siren and I sort of see you as a lifelong artist. I don't know if you see yourself that way, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, like you're committed to your path, and so like, that's amazing. And like, I thought I was going this way on my path. I thought I was going to be a screenwriter and a novelist. I ended up a songwriter. Total accident. You never know what your path is going to do with your talent and your need to be an artist. So there's like a bit of like the, don't worry, jump into the art, and you will be held and you will be supported. And part of that is just like how you show up in everything. And these are parts of the picture. Let's get back to the parts of the picture. Let's put all the pieces together, make a nice little puzzle. Like, imagine that was in 1,000 pieces and we only put in the corners and a couple edges. Let's fill it in. All right, jump up and down just a little bit, move the energy. Ho, 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 ho. Hey, 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 hey. Hee, 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 hee. Ha, 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 ha. Ho, 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 ho. Hey, 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 hey. Shake out all your legs. Yeah, okay. I get excited about these topics and then I realize that talking too much is actually like a little bit stagnating. Okay, so fire. Let's embrace the fire a little bit, shall we? We're going to do some call and response. Instinctual creatures, instinctual creatures, not just creatures of habit, not just creatures of habit. We feel the baseline we move. We feel the baseline we move. And drum skin, we tap it. And drum skin, we tap it. First rooms were wombs. Our first rooms were rooms, all fluid and dark, all fluid and dark, but we still had the boom, boom, boom on this heart, but we still had the boom, boom, boom on this heart. All right, okay, a little bit of fire, a little bit of fire.
Beautiful.
That was on my last album. I really love that song, and it's different every time, but there's a lot more to Okay, let's get deeper into some of the finer points of the voice. Diction. Yeah, so let's do some, we're going to do some lip rolls. And we'll add a little bit of a scale to it. So it's. Now I added the head, but let's actually try it in stillness this time. Let's go a little higher. And one more if you can. Now, I know at the end. So now is a good time for the top to bottom side. Okay, so now is the part I said about the hand on the stomach. We're going to get into the diaphragm breath with ha 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 ho 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 All right, I feel better already.
I feel it like here.
You feel it in your kidneys?
Same. Lots of tension, right? Well, like we're putting out so much energy that we're almost like bending back, and then our back's beating.
It's like.
Well, the other thing is the laughing and like particularly like the extended laughter where you're like losing your air at the end. That's what that's gonna do is gonna show you. Did you start yourself?
No.
Okay.
I'm just like feeling.
I thought you overstressed it.
No, just like stretching.
It will actually show you like the breath. That pain is actually because your breath really wants to be there more often. It's because you're stretching your capacity for your breath, and it feels like that at first, but it changes very quickly. That's a good segue. Repetition is the mother of invention. I'm gonna teach you the critical breath control exercises because it's good for me to do them. It's good for Siren to do them, and you've never learned them before. The first one I call a bathtub exercise because it is best done in the bathtub, and I recommend you try it in the bathtub at some point in the next year. And you basically lay down so that everything but your face is under the water. And the reason I say do it in the bathtub is you can plug your ears and hear something similar, but it's the audio you're looking for. So this exercise is a really small, quiet S. So basically you take the largest breath you can and then you let it out as quietly and slowly and steadily and smoothly as possible. So in the bathtub you hear all the pitch variations and you know where your breath control isn't. And the other thing is warm bath water is going to have you nice and relaxed, and so that's when you have a little bit more breath control than normal. So it will show you what like a proper like relaxed breath control will sound like. But this and the two exercises I share afterwards will help your breath capacity expand so that your breath control is greater. And I haven't really talked about this because it is a bit of repetition. But that breath control is so essential no matter what you're doing. If you have a point that you need to make, but all of a sudden, you know, like something really more emphatic came along that you had to say in between the point and that breath that will get you to there, and that pause like that is like, that's where the tension and release of like listening and sharing comes from, is in the breath control. It's in the pauses. It's in engaging people so that they're not just listening to you the whole time. It's in that, you know, the eye contact and the like building a field of like, hey, we're doing a thing together. Thank you. It's in the gratitude for people's attention and appreciation. It's in all those things. And, you know, it's easy to forget that. Oh, like, I have something important to say. No, we're in service to something greater than ourselves, I think, at our best, right? Okay, back to it. The breath control. So we're going to try this exercise, and because we don't have the bathtub, we're just going to plug our ears, and that's going to give us a sense of how the peaks and valleys are without the clarity that you get in the bathtub. So sometimes, like yoga, I just like to let everything out and then in.
Did somebody just not?
Oh, did someone just nod?
Maybe.
Oh, you made it. Oh, amazing.
So is no one here?
No, they're here.
Hello.
Hello. This is Jessica.
Hi.
Join us.
Join us.
I'm gonna stop this here and